The Book of the Dead is an ancient Egyptian funerary text generally written on papyrus, and it is used from the beginning of the New Kingdom around 1550 before the Common Era to around 50 BCE. The original Egyptian name for the text is translated as Book of Coming Forth by Day or Book of Emerging Forth into the Light. The Book of the Dead, which was placed in the coffin or burial chamber of the deceased, was part of a tradition of funerary texts, in which includes the earlier pyramid texts and coffin texts, which were painted onto objects, not written on papyrus.
The Book of the Dead was most commonly written in hieroglyphic or hieratic script on papyrus scroll and often illustrated with vignettes depicting the deceased and their journey into the afterlife. Book of the Dead is a modern term to describe a series of ancient Egyptian funerary spells that help the deceased find their way to the afterlife in order to become united with the god of the dead, Osiris.
The Book of the Dead originated from concepts depicted in tomb paintings and inscriptions from as early as the 3rd dynasty of Egypt, 2670 to 2613 before Christ era. By the 12th dynasty, 1991 to 1802 before Christ era, these spells with accompanying illustrations were written on papyrus and placed in tombs and graves with the dead. Their purpose, as historian Margaret Bonson explains, was to instruct the deceased on how to overcome the dangers of the afterlife by enabling them to assume the form of several mythical creatures and to give them the passwords necessary for admittance to certain stages of the underworld. They also serve, however, to provide the soul with foreknowledge of what would be expected at every stage. Having a Book of the Dead in one's tomb would be the equivalent of a student in the modern day getting their hands on all the test answer they would ever need in every grade of school. At some point prior to 1600 before Christ era, the different spells had been divided into chapters, and by the time of the New Kingdom, 1570 to 1069 before Christ era, the book was extremely popular. Scribes who were experts in spells would be consulted to fashion custom-made books for an individual or a family. Bonson notes, these spells and passwords were not part of a ritual but were fashioned for the deceased, to be recited in their afterlife. If someone were sick and feared they might die, they would go to a scribe and have them write up a book of spells for the afterlife. The scribe would need to know what kind of life the person have lived in order to surmise the type of journey they could expect after death. Then the appropriate spells would be written specifically for that individual.
Good day everyone. As for the next slides, we will enumerate at least 10 spells that come from the Book of Dead. The first one is a spell in worshipping the gods of the caverns. Instructions on how to deal with the supernatural entities who a deceased had to pass on his way. It is recited as, "O you doorkeepers who guard your portals, who swallow souls and gulp down the corpses of the dead, who pass you by when they are allotted to house of destruction. May you guide the deceased, may you open the portals for him, may the earth open its cavern to him, may you make triumphant over his enemies." As for the second one, it is a spell for going out in the day and living after death. It is recited as, "O you saw, you one who shine in the moon, or you saw one glow in the sun. May end go forth from among those multitude of yours who are outside. May those who are in the sunshine release him. May the end of the netherworld be open to him, when end goes out in the day in order to do what he wishes, on earth among the living." As for the third one is another like it spell. It is recited as, "O atom who went forth as the great one of the waters, having power as the double lion, announce your own words to those who are in the presence, that end comes as one who is in their midst, and give command on the behalf to the crew of Ra in the evening. May Anne live after that like Ra every day. Was Ra born yesterday? Then will Anne be born. May every god be joyful when Anne lives just as they were joyful when Pata lived. When he came forth as the great mansion of the prince was in Heliopolis. Okay, as for the fourth one, it is a spell for passing on the upper road of Versatja. It is recited as, I am he who fixed the limits of the flood and who judged between the rivals. I have come, I have removed the evil which was on Osiris. The fifth spell is for not doing work in the realm of the dead. It is recited as, it is I who lift up the arm of him who is inert. I have gone out of Hermopolis. I am a living soul. I have been initiated into the hearts of the baboons. The leading of my army, the health of my god. As for the next spell, it is a spell for causing Shabti to do work for a man to the realm of the dead. This spell is recited as, O Shabti, allotted to me, if I be summoned or I'll be detailed to do any work, which has to be done in the realm of the dead, if indeed obstacles are implanted, for you therewith as a man with his duties. You shall detail yourself for me in occasion of making arable to the fields, of flooding the banks, or of conveying the sun from east to west. Here I am, you shall say. As for the next slide, we have here the spell that give the deceased the power to breathe and air, and to have the power over water. It is addressed to the sycamore fig tree, symbol of the sky goddess, Nut. This spell is recited as, O you sycamore of the sky, maybe there given me the air which is in it. For I am he sought out the throne in the midst of winter. Hermopolis, I have guarded this egg of the great crackler. If it grows, I grow. If it lives, I live. If it breathes air, I breathe air. And that are the 7 spells from the Book of the Dead. The remaining 3 will be discussed by Lynette Navarro.
Number 8. Protection against snakes. Oh, Rerik snake, take yourself off, for Geb protects me. Get up, for you have eaten a mouse, which Ra detests, and you have chewed the bones of a putrid cat. This is the first 5 spells which protect the deceased from falling victim to snakes in the afterlife. Number 9. Protection against the Apshai insect. Begone from me, O crooked lips. I am Num, Lord of Shen, who dispatched the word of the gods to Ra, and I report affairs to their masters. Number 10. Allow the boss spirit of the deceased to rejoin the deceased. Typically, with a vignette showing the Ba, represented as a bird with human head flying over a mummy. Come for my soul, O you wardens of the sky. If you delay letting my soul see my corpse, you will find the eye of Horus standing up thus against you. The sacred Baroque will be joyful, and the great God will proceed in peace when you allow this soul of mine to ascend vindicated to the gods. May it see my corpse, may it rest on my mummy, which will never be destroyed or perish. The Egyptian Book of the Dead holds the most important role in every Egyptian's life. Amongst many contents of the said book, there is one thing that is extremely important: the feather scale. To the Egyptians,
The heart, or the id, was the main source of human wisdom and center of emotions and memory rather than the brain. It is believed to reveal the person's true character even after death. So during the mummification of deceased body, the heart was the only one left. The heart was the key to afterlife. After the death of the body, everyone has to pass through the hall of judgment. It is where the goddess Ma'at, who personifies order, truth, and what is right's feather of truth, lies. Osiris will place the heart of the soul on the great golden scale balanced against the white feather of Ma'at. Here comes the judgment right after. If the soul's heart was lighter than the feather, it is decided that the person's soul could pass on toward the bliss of the field of reeds, which is to be believed as the afterlife without pain and not even death. But then, if the heart proved heavier than the feather, it would be thrown to the floor of the Hall of Truth, where it will be devoured by Amut, a god with a crocodile face, the front of leopard, and back of rhinoceros, known as the gobbler. Once Amut devoured the person's heart, the soul then ceased to exist. Since there was no hell for the ancient Egyptians, their fate worse than death was non-existence.